Hey, how's everybody doing today? It's your boy Don Pedro with Noble Syndicate. We have another DeFi tutorial for you today. Today we'll be focusing on setting up a MetaMask. So for those that are new to this DeFi space or cryptocurrencies. So first thing you're going to do is open up your browser. Today we'll be using Firefox, but you can use different browsers, Chrome, Brave, Opera. It's entirely up to you. So once you decide which browser you want to use, you'll go to metamask.io. Click download. Install the Firefox. Add to Firefox. And what Firefox does is it automatically adds MetaMask to your extension browser. Not all browsers do that. So if the MetaMask icon does not pop up on your extension browser, what you have to do is go into your settings and pin it to the extension browser. So once you do that, you'll click Get Started. MetaMask puts up this prompt and basically asking if it can gather user data to better understand users and improve the usability and user experience of the product. I usually opt out of things like this because I don't like to have my personal data shared, even though it says anonymous, but yeah, that's just a personal preference of mine. So once you get to this screen, you have two options. One is import wallet. The next is create a new wallet. So this import wallet button would be for those that already have a wallet and they want to basically add it to this device or this browser. So what you would do is just click import wallet and input your secret recovery phrase here, and it would basically add that wallet to this device or this browser. So say for instance you have a MetaMask on another device, maybe your phone or another computer, and you wanted to move it to this device. What you would do is just click this import wallet button. Today we're going to create a wallet from scratch, so we'll just hit create a wallet. We'll input a password, and this password is for accessing the MetaMask. All right, for this particular device. So your secret recovery phrase is more like a master key than a password, so to speak. So this secret recovery phrase, this 12-word phrase, is the master key to your wallet. So you would never want to share this private key with anybody, because if this private key gets out or anybody gets access to your private key, they basically have access to all of your digital assets that are tied to that key. All right, so it's actually quite common scam for people to ask for recovery phrases, or your private key is another word for it. Never share that private key. Also, I recommend you keep your private key on paper in multiple places, in your home or whatever. Preferably in like a safe, or some kind of safe place where people don't have access to it. And also in multiple places, because if you lose this password or this private key, you will lose access to your digital assets. All assets that are tied to that private key will be lost. So one thing in this space that you'll realize is that your security is your responsibility. There is no forgot my recovery phrase button or anything like that. So if you lose that recovery phrase or you lose access to it, you will lose access to all your funds. So it's very important that you keep track of that recovery phrase. So here's the private key. It's going to reveal the secret words. for this video, basically this is just a test account. I'll be deleting it after this video, so I'm not worried too much about anybody gaining access to this, because I will not be putting funds on this account. It's just as for, educational purposes. But what you would do is, at this point, is copy this phrase, this 12-word phrase down. Click next, and they'll ask you to confirm the recovery phrase, so you input it. Congratulations, you passed the test. Keep your secret recovery phrase safe. It's your responsibility. And again, like I said before, they give tips for storing it safely. It says save a backup at multiple places. Never share the phrase with anyone. Be careful of phishing. MetaMask will never spontaneously ask you for your secret recovery phrase. If you need to back up your secret recovery phrase again, you can find it in settings, security. Another thing I also don't recommend, but again, I'm just maybe paranoid or whatever the case is, I don't take pictures or save my secret phrases digitally or anything, because again, you open up the door for hacks, or if anybody say, for instance, you take a picture of your phrase on your phone, if anybody gains access to your phone, they have access to your potentially have access to your funds. So my motto is always be safe rather than sorry, especially if you have large sums of money tied to that private key. So basically that's the setup. It defaults to Ethereum mainnet on MetaMask. I'll also, we can do actually accounts. Let's explain what these things are. So right here, what you're seeing is basically the main MetaMask window. Right here is your account number. You can actually change the name of your account, and you can have as many accounts as you want tied to a particular private key. So one thing that confuses people when they first get into space is because they call this a crypto wallet. A better way to think about MetaMask would be more like a keychain as opposed to a wallet, right? So when you set up MetaMask, the main account or the main wallet, so to speak, or keychain is tied to your private key, those 12 words that we were required to write down. Now, that private key is the master key to this keychain. Right? You can have as many accounts as you want tied to that one master key, if that makes sense. So to give better clarity, what we'll do is I'll rename this first account. So you click these three dots, go to account details. We'll name this test account 1. All right, click the check to save it in. So under test account 1, you have this QR code, and you have this long string of characters here. So this string of characters right here is called your public key. So your public key would be akin to like a routing number for your bank account in the traditional finance world, right? So if you wanted somebody to send you some funds to your wallet, what you would do is share this public key with that individual so they know where to send the funds to. All right. You can also use this QR code if you were using like a phone to send funds or whatever the case is. You can have that individual scan this QR code or send this QR code to somebody, and if they scan the QR code, they can send the funds that way. But when you're on the computer, the most people do is they copy and paste this public key and send it. So the public key, as opposed to the private key, the public key can be sent to anyone without fear of them gaining access to your digital assets. But one thing to note is that if somebody has your public key, right, or say for instance your identity is linked to a public key, anybody can search this public key on the block explorer, what's called a block explorer, and they can basically view all of your transactions and even check and see exactly what you have in your wallet. So a safe practice is to, if you want to maintain a sense of or be anonymous, so to speak, you may not want to, or you may want to be careful at how you share your public key, or try not to link an identity to a public key. Or one way that I go about things is to have multiple accounts. So that makes it harder to track or maybe link your identity to that public key. So you would go about that by clicking on this icon. You can click create account. We'll name this one test account 2. And if you notice, test account 2, even though they're both linked to the same private key, they have different account numbers or different public key numbers. So test account 1, the last 4 of the public key is 071A. Test account 2 is 577D. And you can do that as many times as you'd like. As you can see, test account 3 is DAEC. So all these accounts are tied to your private key, but they all have different public keys. So one way to help you stay anonymous is to have multiple accounts instead of one main account, where, you know, if your identity gets linked to an account, they don't necessarily, that individual, or, you know, doesn't necessarily know which wallet is yours, or, you know, what's your main wallet, or whatever the case is. They don't know everything that you're doing, if that makes sense. Another thing we'll go over real quick is, say you lose your public key, your private key, and you want to find it again or write it down again. What you would do is go to settings, you go to security and privacy, you would hit reveal secret recovery phrase. And once you do that, it'll tell you to input your password. Once you input your password, it shows you your secret recovery phrase, and then you can recopy it down and place it in a safe place again. Yeah, I guess that's all we're going to go over, just a basic overview of MetaMask. I hope that made sense to everybody. Next video, we'll go over setting up the RPCs so you can interact with other blockchains besides Ethereum mainnet.